Hello and welcome to episode 35 of the Grove podcast. It's raining, it's thundering actually in Scotland. Tabs is on the non-alcoholic beers and Whale just looks pissed off. And it's all because of Chris Kavanagh. Chris Kavanagh has ruined our weekend, has put us in this mood, and we are here to dissect and discuss the Brighton and Hove Albion game. Also, we're going to talk about some deadline day transfers, and obviously the Champions League fixtures have been announced, so we will quickly touch on those as well. Tabs, I hope you're okay. Whale, how are you guys?
I'm feeling lots of things. At the moment, I'm just decompressing from a day with my whole family. I've been entertaining, cooking. I had a triathlon I had to do. I raced a triathlon this morning, so a bit knackered from that. Came back, bunch of cooking, bit of tidying up, doing the show notes, and now chatting with you guys. So I'm really looking forward to this. I can just sit down and just decompress and as you said beforehand, therapy. There you go, therapy.
Yeah, and Whale, welcome back as well. You obviously first time back since summer. How's it?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's good to be back. Good evening, fine gentlemen. We'll see how it goes.
I was waiting for that. And it was really nice to see you guys, 5 minutes into the Horatia, just almost like a live podcast. It's brilliant, some of the conversations that come up with the two of you guys. Really, really had a good time. And also, just to say, I loved it. My highlight was obviously seeing everyone, and I did, and it was brilliant. Not really happy, though, with a few names I'll mention. Charles, Henry, Tom, Dennis. These guys normally stay out late. And, there's a special guest here from Scotland, and they all went home. I come back and right, where's everyone? What's the plans tonight? Surely it's the Lamb, or it's, the famous cock, or faltering fullback. But no, it's all home and tucked up in bed. So got a wee bone to pick with you guys. If I've named you, then we will have words the next time I see you guys. Anyway, let's and Tabs, as you quite rightly put, we normally start with a highlight and low light, but I think our low light will be the same thing, to be honest. So let's just talk. So I'm going to give the floor to you guys for a couple of minutes each, and then I'll go at the end. Whale, I'll start with you. What was your thoughts on the major incident that was the Declan Rice second yellow?
Yeah, it's probably like a lot of people. It sort of changed from my perspective, sort of in the stadium when it happened, and then me getting a chance to actually see it and take some more points in. I mean, I was literally walking back to my seat when it happened, so it took a while for me to figure out what was going on. Reflecting back on it, it's unfortunate. I no longer blame the referee like some people in the group chat. I don't feel that Arsenal have been picked on. I feel that 2 yellow cards is a straight red. Rice made a, whatever you want to call it, a challenge he didn't need to make right at the end of the first half. Boom, that's yellow. Everybody agrees on that. And the PJMLO or whatever initialism they use these days have said that they're going to make a point of this kicking the ball away. They've told the refs. Now, whether if one ref wants to pay more attention to that and do it because that's the rule more than another ref, I don't know. I do like consistency and be nice to see all the refs do it, but you can't get upset with this ref. Aside from the fact that I feel that Velmet, Vahimi, whatever his name was, that was an aggressive kick. He wasn't trying to get the ball. The ball hadn't even stopped rolling yet. He should have been sent off, or at the very least, like a yellow card. But this is what happens when you try like these little shithousery. Declan tried it and he got caught. And instead of it just being a slap on the wrist, when you have that second yellow, it's a big deal. So if I'm Arteta, I'm giving him an earful. It better not happen again, and we just have to move along. But if you're upset with anybody, it's Rice.
Okay, very interesting take, Tabs.
I've gone round the houses God knows how many times on this. I think I think initially my main thing is don't give the referee a decision to make because they get them wrong. Just take the referee out of the equation. Don't give him an opportunity to do something stupid, to be inconsistent, to whatever. So my initial thinking is was that say, okay, if he kicked the ball away, and this was yesterday before I said they kicked the ball away, yeah, you're right, it's a yellow card, blah blah blah. You know, sorry, you deserve to go 2 yellows. And it bugs me when people say, oh, he got sent off for that. No, he got sent off for 2 yellows. And he didn't get sent off for that incident. And people conflate that. That's not a sending off offence. That is the consequence of the second yellow. That's it. So people sort of merge that. So that was my initial thought, saying, all right, well, yeah, Ben White, you don't really have not Ben White, so Declan, you got, but yeah, you give referees a decision to make. They're known to make shit decisions. And the reason why I think this is a terrible, terrible decision, it did a couple of things. One is the consistency. Pedro boots the ball 40 yards after throwing, not even anything. In fact, if the referee comes in and says, right, I'm going to be the most anal bastard here and be refereeing like this, like to within an inch of its life, everyone knows where they're playing at and everyone knows what's going to happen. So they'll abide by the rules. Oh, I'm going to let that player kick it 40 yards and it's blatantly obvious. I'm not going to do anything. With the Rice incident, I've watched it over and over again to my detriment, I think, my mental health. It's like, so the foul takes place, it's fine, it's a foul. As Veltman gets up, he sort of accidentally kicks the ball forward. So Rice gently nudges it away. So it's not like he stopped the free kick. It's not like the ball was stationary and he kicked it away. He just nudged it 3 or 4 inches wide. And then there's absolutely no need for Veltman to come and kick the ball, because what's he kicking ball? If you're kicking a moving ball, then he took the free kick already, and then that's like a violent conduct. Or if he's going to kick the moving ball or taking a free kick, well, you can't because the ball is moving. So he deliberately did that to gain a reaction. So that's there to do that. So there's a lot of thought in here. He knew what he was doing. He got that. It's a bit like the choke slam the other week and whatever, you know. And so the referee's got a decision made. The main job of the referee is actually to ensure the health and safety of the players during the game and enforce the laws of the game in a manner that's fit to the game. He could have just taken a breath. He won't have seen that whole incident. If he'd have seen that whole incident played out as it was, he was miles away. He didn't see that. He would have maybe, okay. A bit like Oliver did with the White kicking the ball against McGinn and McGinn kicking the ball at Saliba. He managed that really well. He took the heat out of it. Said, right, come on, lads, stop being dickheads. Just get on with the game. He could have very easily going, Rice, you on a thing like whatever. He could, but no, he chose to do. Oh, I've got no choice. No, you have a choice. You always have a choice. And he chose to. You know what? I'm going to come here and be the man, be the center of attention, and then do it. I'm like Whale. They're not cheats. I think they're just incompetent. And there's some inherent bias in there somewhere. You know, I'm not a big fan of unconscious bias, but there's something in there. And I think I had this sort of theory the other day, because you wouldn't see this at Man City. You would never ever in a million years, I don't think you would ever see this at Man City. I think they see us as a big club, but we're an easy club to make an example of. Like the Teta stuff last year when he got sent off at Luton. Tomiyasu with the second yellow card. Martinelli when he gets 2 yellow cards, you know, at Wolves, like within the space of a second. Yeah, I think they use us as an example, say, hey, we stand up to the big clubs. We give the big clubs the same crappy decisions as we give the smaller clubs. So that's my plethora of thoughts on this. I don't think Declan Rice is completely blameless, but a yellow card was not the only option.
Okay, so my thoughts. I'm sorry to block 125 for standing up and cheering when Declan Rice got sent off. I thought he was a Brighton player. So everyone else was sat down around me. I seen the red card get flashed, and I started cheering, thinking Veltman had been sent off for kicking Declan Rice. And when you show that, or if you were to show that to a non-football supporting person, someone who doesn't watch football, they would clearly see that would be a red card for the Brighton player. So I tested that. I sent it to my wife, who's in Rome on holiday just now, and I said, look, just watch this 10-second GIF and tell me who is at fault. And she was like, yeah, surely the guy in blue tackled the guy in red and it's a sending off. But no. So that's one part of it. And I was really angry when yesterday in the game and afterwards we watched it. Will, you and I watched it at the Horatio after, and we were angry. But then the more I thought about it, the more I watched it last night and also kind of today and I thought about it overnight, I think Declan Rice has a big part to blame for this incident. I think he's stupid, number one, for not moving away and just getting on with it. But also number two, for putting himself in that situation when he's already on a yellow card, because you know the referee is quite within the rights to follow, and we hear this all the time. We've seen it all the time on Twitter and threads and whatnot, the letter of the law. But on the flip side, the letter of the law states you cannot take a free kick from when the ball is moving. And also, when you look at it, the ball was actually stationary right at the start, and Veltman kicked it, and then it hit Declan Rice. So technically, that was him restarting the match. Some could argue, well, Declan Rice wasn't the full 10 yards away. So, and I spoke to our friend, Ars Cannon Pix. He was at Stansted Airport. I went to shake his hand, and no, he just went straight for a hug. I think that's how we were both kind of feeling after yesterday's game. And he and a lot of others are of agreement now that, yeah, this is not just the referee's fault. I think it's a combination of two. And it's just, for me, the inconsistency that's annoying. So the Premier League today, there was so much going on. In fact, one of the games I just very briefly seen on X before we came on, one of the games this happened, I think it was Man U Liverpool, and the ball was thrown away when it was a free kick, and nothing got done, So the player threw the ball away from where it was stationary for a free kick, and the referee did nothing. And then you think about other decisions that we've had that went against us. So Tomiyasu's red card for 5 seconds of time wasting, a couple of seasons ago. Xhaka got a red card for a tactical foul that shouldn't have been a red card. There was Cedric against Tottenham a few years back when it was kind of in the back for contesting with a header. And then you look at other decisions. So you look at Kovacic last season when they played against Arsenal. That, to me, is 2 yellow cards. That's a sending off offence. You look at Havertz last week or the week before, got choked for 5-10 seconds by Mosquera. No foul, nothing at all, not even a talking to. Ivan Toney, the offside goal when they didn't draw the lines, and VAR somehow forgot. There's just no consistency. I can name you so many, and that's just a tip of the iceberg. So there's no simple fix. But I think one thing that really needs to change for PGMOL, or as Wales says, however they want to describe themselves as nowadays, we need referees from all across the world in the Premier League. If the Premier League is the best league in the world, we cannot just rely on a group of 7 or 8 referees who all live in Manchester, who all rotate the big games and will have unconscious bias. Like Arteta's post-match press conference when we were playing against Newcastle away, when the ball was it out, was it not out? That would play on the referee's mind. Oh wait, he's calling my mate a disgrace. Well, next time a decision happens against Arsenal, I'll be sure to make sure, I don't know. So it's unconscious bias that way as well. And that happens not only in football, but in every walk of life, in every part of your life, in your job, in your day-to-day, unconscious bias exists. And that's what we need to try to eradicate by increasing the pool of the referees that we have. That's my take on it. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on...
I think between the three of us, we've encapsulated, I think, what pretty much every Arsenal fan is thinking. There's no right, there's no wrong. It's an amalgamation of things. And it's interesting you say the unconscious bias thing here, because I was having a discussion with my brother today saying there's no such thing as unconscious bias, because everyone makes a decision, and people make choices, and they're aware of those choices if they think about it. So, but that's a pod for another day. So no, I think. So well said. And I also don't want to be a victim. I don't want to play the victim here. Every team gets shitty decisions. What about the clothesline last week? For Bournemouth, every team. But I think the word is consistency. If you know what you're dealing with, you know what you're dealing with. If you don't know what you're dealing with, then you what it is. And yeah, but that's it. Blame on Rice. Blame on the ref. But we've got to move on. And that's the thing. It's like shit. I want to be able to move on for it. Oh my God, we're 3 games in. We need to be able to. This is going to be a long season if we're going to be like in so much angst after every crappy thing that doesn't go our way. So it was a horrible 24 hours, but hopefully tonight we can get to the conclusion that we did well to earn a draw and we move on. But we'll get
and I think the most heartbreaking thing from this whole situation is the fact that Declan Rice now misses the North London derby in a couple of weeks' time after the international break, and obviously it's the blows even harder because obviously Marino has hurt his shoulder. We don't know how long he's exactly out for. So, and Wale and I were talking before the match at the Horatia, just saying, well, there's actually 2 international breaks whilst Marino is out, so it was kind of like a saving grace, and then this happens, and then suddenly, things have been thrown up in the air. But yeah, I think we've all, as you say, Tabs, encapsulated it well. What was really interesting is I have a friend who is an ex-professional footballer, played at a very high level. He's very well known up in Scotland, played in the MLS as well, and he's an Arsenal season ticket holder. He was watching the game and texted me live, real time, and he was like, yeah, said to my son straight away, this is it, Declan Rice is getting sent off here. So it was really interesting to hear that, because when I was in the stadium, I was like, no way that could be a red card. But it just shows you potentially that, I'm not saying that professional footballers know everything, but he may be seen it in a different way. But as they said at the start of the season as well, they're going to clamp down on things like this too. So anyway, let's, as we call this podcast our therapy, let's just move on and talk about highlights of the game. So if you guys don't mind, I'll go first. I know it's not about seeing you guys, although it was really nice. The highlight for me was just how we played in the first half up until Declan Rice sending off. I think we were really, really good. I don't think Brighton had many chances of note. Mitoma had one where it kind of flashed across goal and went out for a goal kick. But we need to just stand up and applaud David Raya again. David Raya is turning into the best goalkeeper in the world at the moment. Genuinely. No, genuinely. The saves that he's had to make in the last 3 games of the Premier League, I don't think any other keeper in the Premier League at least makes those saves. I really don't. And you guys are both laughing, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, it's the hyperbole, is it? And that's all. It's fine. I'm here for it. Yeah, he's the best keeper in the world. Oh my God. It's a joke. Yeah, we need to laugh. Here we go.
We need to laugh, but I'm being serious when I say David Raya saved our bacon yesterday again. There was that one shot. I think he dived to his right, and then the ball was blocked, and then he managed to get up again and save it. These things. I dare say Aaron Ramsdale doesn't make a save like that. I mean, you see the goals he conceded for Southampton, although the system's really poor, so that's why you concede goal when you're Southampton goalie. But the highlight for me was how we played, and especially David Raya. I just want to talk about a very quick low light. I know we're not really doing low lights because it's the Declan Rice thing, but
there is only one low light.
Well, for me, Martin Odegaard's injury, it was a low light because it was just like playing at 60% of what he could have been capable of for the rest of the game. And every time the ball went out of play, he was running to the sideline to get treatment. It didn't look like much on the highlights, but it seemed to have just caught the side of his shin, so maybe there's a gash or whatever, or on coming together. So yeah, that was mine. Wale, what was your highlight from the game?
Havertz scoring, like that guy getting confidence for me is probably one of the most important things for this team. Him especially, because that's one of those goals where I mean, it looks nice, it looks easy, but it's not. He easily could have fluffed it, missed it, and then now his head's all over the place. So just the fact that he took that with confidence, made it. He's on the score sheet again, moving forward. Yeah, I mean, for me, that's the only highlight. This is what happens with draws and losses, and I guess second to that, we could have given up another goal in the second half. So yeah, getting the draw, getting that 1 point, and just getting out of there, out of there and regrouping for the next game. So, but yeah, Havertz is playing well. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, he is indeed, and it was like the finish was really good, really nice. Most players would just hit that over the goal, wouldn't they? And just knew exactly when to dink over the keeper. So really, really nice. Tabs?
Yeah, I think it was just the way we played after going down to 10 men. It was just a shame we couldn't just hold out until we made the substitution, because I was very chill. I was very calm. So right, down to 10 men, but I wasn't like doom and gloom. And he said, just ride out this 10 minutes, And we were so close. We just need to make that substitution, because Calafiori was brilliant when he came on. So I think, but even just coming out with the draw where we played, because I think after that goal, okay, there was a race. They really didn't create anything. They really didn't. It's not like, okay, they had a lot of domination because they had the extra man. But I kept on saying, hey, their extra man is Dunk. Fine, let him have an extra. Let him have Dunk. He's the extra man. So what? You know, it's and. So I was really. I did not think we were going to lose it. Whether we would win it or not, and there were chances. I'm not too sure, but I didn't think we were going to lose it. And I think we did well. I think we did really well. And then, to be honest, if I was the Brighton manager, I'd be furious with my team, because they were taking pot shots and long shots that are unnecessary. All they had to do was keep recycling out wide, get us under pressure, keep getting the ball in the box. Something's going to drop, and they didn't. They were just in front of us most of the time. Okay, occasionally they would get down the line but that's going to happen. But and then they were taking long shots. So we really did well to restrict them, and their players were there thinking, well, I don't know what to do. So they smack it in. None of them challenged. I don't think they even challenged the actual clock in the clock end, let alone Reyes. So it was like, so the way we just performed to get the point, get out, and again move on. So that was my highlight.
Yeah, so let's talk about lineups then. It was quite interesting, obviously, that the only change was Trossard coming in for Martinelli. And as Ars Cannon picks, as Ian said today at the airport, was that more of a kind of Martinelli? Should Martinelli have played? And Tabs, you wrote that as well in your notes. But we go back to this comment from Andrew, and I'm not shit-stirring Andrew because you're the one that sent the voice note in. But, is it just they're both not starters and they're both impact players? It'll be really interesting to see what Arteta does as well in terms of lineup, obviously, against Spurs in a couple of weeks' time. But I thought we played well. And what was good for me as well is that the subs that we made when the substitutes came on, they also did their job. No one looked out of place. You mentioned Calafiori. I thought he was really good. And even Zinchenko, when he came on, didn't really have to do much, but gave us that option. The one thing I would have thought would have happened, though, was Jorginho would have come on at some point for Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey looked a bit leggy in the last 20 minutes. And that was interesting that he never made that. And it was interesting as well that Arteta made 3 subs at 3 different parts. So obviously you only have 3 windows to make subs, don't you? And he only made the 3 subs in 3 different windows. So he kind of wasted that chance to, make further substitutions later on down the line in the game, which was interesting. But yeah, I mean, the lineup was as expected. Does anyone have any thoughts? I don't think we expected anything differently, potentially.
No, I think the Trossard, it's an odd one. He had to play him because of the way he played last week. But Nelly, even though his end product wasn't there, he was still causing Villa trouble. And this was a very similar game to Villa. So mid-block, they really stopped us passing through the lines. They really stopped that. Played a really high line. So Nelly, ball over the top, is an outlet with that pace. And when he came on, I think he did very well, put himself about very well. So it was one of these ones. If he didn't start Trossard, we'd be going, what the hell's going on? But this to me maybe was a bit of a Nelly game. We don't know. It's a tough one to call that. So that's all I'd say on that. Yeah, as you said. And then Timber at left back as well. He's still feeling his way. So again, defensively fine, sound, getting up to speed after a long absence. But in terms of his progressive ability, he's still figuring it out. I think that's partly because of him. It's partly because I think we're still a bit disjointed as a moment at the team. If he was coming into a fully formed, fully functioning, all firing on all cylinders team, be different. He's like a lot of other players, 70% there, and that's showing up some of the fact that he's new in it to all intents and purposes. But yeah, other than that, no, there's no issue with the team. I think the subs were good. I said I really liked Calafiori's performance. I wouldn't be surprised if he started pretty soon. He was impressive. He gets himself about. And there was that one chance. We just couldn't get the ball out to him. Otherwise, I could see him going down the left wing. So yeah. But yeah, that was good.
Yeah, Whale, what was your thoughts on the lineup? Did you expect anything different from what we'd played?
No, I mean, I was I mean, I guess I wasn't surprised, but I didn't think he was going to put Trossard in. But I feel like he's earned it. You got players that do that sort of stuff. They start scoring goals, or they're making, you know, impactful decisions in games. And if the man doesn't reward that, then guys are gonna be like, hey, like, what's this all about? So it's, after seeing it, yeah, it wasn't a surprise. But you know, like Tabs and yourself were saying, who's to say if Martinelli would have done anything different? It's like, it's impossible to know. It could have played out just like last game. Martinelli plays 30, 40, 50 minutes. Then we bring Trossard in and he scores. Or, but I mean, if because I didn't hear I think Andrew's whole sort of voice note. He's not 100% wrong. I think if we're talking about, neither of these guys are, like what I call like a starter, like someone who's gonna just do what you need all the time. Like, you don't have to worry about them. Like, they're
It's like Bukayo Saka.
yeah, I mean, they're at different points of their career. One's 29, 30, the other one's 23. But one is a bit more, at least the opportunities present themselves, and he scores a goal, and one's in a slump. And this is sports, so you can only be in a slump for so long before you will be removed, and then you're gonna have to work your way back up to that starting spot or a different team. Or so it's a little bit frustrating. But yeah, like the lineup itself, I was happy with. I thought it was gonna be enough, to be honest with you.
I think it would have been enough. I think first half we were dominant, we were in control, we were creating the chances. Brighton were offering very little. The game turned on the one incident. I think it was enough. I think we were going to go on and win. Not quite as comfortably as Miles predicted. I don't think we were going to the 5-1, but I didn't see us doing anything other than winning, and we almost did.
Yeah, you're not the only one that's had words with me about my prediction of 5-1. Shout out to, just want to shout out Chris from Arsenal Edinburgh. He met him at the airport. Never met him before. Lovely guy. Met him at the airport. I sent him to the wrong. I felt so bad. I told him I was at Pret having a coffee, like at 4:30 in the morning, and there's 2 Prets in Edinburgh Airport. I didn't realise this. So he was on the other side looking for me, and so we ended up seeing each other, and yeah, he had some words about my prediction as well. But yeah, he listens to the pod, and he actually was the one that asked when Wales coming back. So we couldn't disappoint him, and obviously we've got the big guy on today. What's interesting, just before we move on, I guess, is Trossard and Timber were the 2 worst performers according to FotMob in terms of ratings, which was interesting because when I watched the game in the first half, I did feel Trossard was trying too hard. And I think it was because he was playing on the same kind of flank as where the Brighton fans were, and every time he got the ball, he was getting booed. Just shows you the caliber of the Brighton fans, that they're booing Trossard, and we clapped Danny Welbeck, you know. So that was quite interesting. Maybe he was, it was in the back of his mind, but I don't know, potentially. But he never had like the most assured game. But then again, even when Martinelli came on, I don't think Martinelli had many chances. The biggest chance towards the end was Saka's. When Havertz crossed it into him. If Saka's 1 yard in front, then that ball can enter.
He's offside. Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, he looked off. But what I would say is, I think we defended really well in the second half when we were down to 10 men. You know, there was a lot of corners in the second half. I think there were 6 corners Brighton had in the second half, which was really interesting. And every time the corners were getting whipped in, I was absolutely shitting myself. But we really defended them well, and we cleared the lines. The only annoying thing is we just kept hoofing the ball up. And I know we're just trying to get rid of it, but I just wish we looked for an out, and the out could have been Martinelli, and we couldn't do that. But look, we had a couple of very good chances at the end of the game to score. Havertz had a very good chance as well. Saka had that, so the Havertz chance when Verbruggen saved it brilliantly with his left leg. Saka, I don't know if you guys remember this. Should Saka have went down? And then probably knowing Chris Kavanagh got sent off for diving or something.
I've not seen it. I've seen people talk about that. So that was in the 75th minute. So it was quite late on. So I was out of my seat. Yeah, I didn't see that. I was a bit more, why didn't Saka hit it first time? And so I've seen it, but not close enough to think, he could have gone down. And then I realised, no, he couldn't hit it first time. He had to take it wide, and then it was on his right foot, and it just petered out. So yeah, I've seen that. But I've got no opinion on whether he should have gone down or not. Yeah, you're right. He most really would go down.
You should never. I hate that. Such a fucking pussy. It's a ridiculous part of the game. Oh, I fall over, go down. No. You stay up and you try to score. Like, I'm not in any aspect of it. Oh, he should have went down. No, if it defeats the whole. How's it a penalty if you should have went down? It should be you have no choice but to go down because it's you've been hit in such a way that or whatever.
Unfortunately, the rules allow for people to fall over legs that are left in place, and you can make it look however you want. But yeah, no, I agree. I'd rather he stay up and try and shoot, but there was a choice to make, and they were there. But yeah, no, you're right. I'm with you, Whale. There's the chance there, and that's why I think he did, because he takes it a bit better, and then he's got a left foot shot in. It just you know what it's like. You just ricochets around. Then maybe you're a bit rushed and stuff like that. And just back most to your point around Timber, around Trossard, around many of our players, I just think we're still a bit disjointed. We're still not clicking this, and look, we don't expect to be clicking at this same season. We don't want to be a Tottenham, win the league after 6 games. We build into these things, and normally it's fine. We get the result. We got this result. Things to work on. We go on the international break, etc., etc. So the red card obviously changes everything. So I just think, I think we're just a bit disjointed. Rice doesn't seem to be fully back from the Euros, and he's still struggling a bit. Partey's getting better, but has his moments. I noticed yesterday White, and these last couple of games, we've not been overlapping with White. He's hardly been doing.
I was thinking that
even the right hand side. So actually, our 2 top player, Havertz has been brilliant. Saka's been Saka. Raya's been great. But everyone else, Gabriel's had his moments. Saliba's had his moments. White he's been fine, but he's just been on the periphery of things. So I think just as a team, and so therefore it does make it hard for then other players, because then they're impacted by that. Maybe not because of them per se, but they're not given the opportunities to perform because of how the whole unit is playing. So I think it's all a bit of a bit of everything, meaning that certain players are maybe not doing what we expect them to do, or we're doing it in patches, so we don't have that consistency. We're playing really well in bits and bobs, and then there's something still there. So I think that's just an interesting thing to sort of think about in terms of the team dynamic and what that means for certain individuals.
Can I just quickly interrupt? Sorry, and just ask: is this potentially an Arteta thing where we're not starting the season like we have last year and went all guns blazing, and and it's maybe a combination of the fact that a lot of players have maybe come back from Euros and international tournaments, and so we're not starting that way because we're just we're going to almost like an upwards trajectory until the end of the season, and so we don't run out of steam potentially. Is that the case, or is it the case that the players are just tired and leggy from the summer?
I think it's a bit of that. I think also teams, Villa and the Brighton, the way they've set up really well to stifle us. But the thing is, they don't offer anything. Villa was created by our own issues, and the other one was fluky sort of thing, and not dismissing them, but they set up really, really well against us, and then we're struggling to break that mid block finding through the channels. And that's why I was expecting us to go wide, but we're still coming a bit more central. So teams are playing really compact against us, playing a high line, and we're struggling to break that down. And we've got to figure out a way to do that. So all of it combined is leading to a bit of a disjointed sort of beginning of the season. But we could have been 9 points out of 9, and we'd say, okay, fine, we'll just build on it. It just feels a lot worse because of fucking City. That's why it feels bad. 7 points off the 3 games.
I don't think so. I don't agree with that.
Well, okay, so for me, it feels just like every point is so precious because of what you're up against, and that's why it feels so hard. Okay, for me personally, but if you draw a game after going out to 10 men at half time, most of the time you're happy with it. But because of in context of trying to win the league against what we're trying to win the league, it just makes it feel harder. That for me anyway.
Well, let's not forget, City have had to play Ipswich, who are a brand new promoted team who are absolutely guff.
Yeah.
Sorry, Will. Um,
Oh, I know. It's like a dagger through his heart.
Not really. I mean, they just drew with Fulham, so
well, sorry, I should say they were guff against Man City. Letting in 3 goals in the space of 130 seconds or whatever is just not Premier League material. But they're only new into the Prem, and they did do very well to get a draw against Fulham. You're right. However, they've also had to play a West Ham team who are equally as guff. West Ham are hopeless, and they played Chelsea, who were disjointed. Chelsea will finish mid-table again this season. I think. I don't think they'll finish anywhere near the top 4. When Haaland comes up against the likes of Saliba, Gabriel, and Virgil van Dijk, he will not score hat tricks. Mark my words, he will not score hat tricks against these teams. So Man City,
mark my words, clip it up. You've seen this guy's record, right? Like he does have hat tricks against like top quality teams. He's not just getting hat tricks against teams that have just come up and bottom of the table things. You don't have, what was it, 95 goals and 101 things by just only getting it against scrubs. He does against everybody. Yeah, that's what he does.
But Moz, you said you didn't agree with the fact that the reason why the draw feels bad, and we're not celebrating the fact that we drew from being down to 10 men, and it's in my point about is because of the context of what we're up against. That's why everyone.
Every point is crucial.
Yeah.
Every point is crucial because you're up against.
Because of what we're up against. That's why. That's almost. Yeah. That's why. As I was saying, otherwise we'd be. I think, as Wales said, we move on. We take the point and we move on and regroup for the next game. It just feels.
We still technically should though, and a lot of people have your opinion, and it's. I hear people say, "Oh, City." We beat ourselves the last 2 years. That's a fact. The last 2 years when we could have won the title, essentially City had nothing to do with it. We had big leads. We gave it away. Yeah, they did their part. They won out. But if we would have did our part, then there's nothing that they could have done. There's no double points or this and that. We'd have been going right now for the 3-peat. So this whole, City's invincible, this and this, it's just to make us feel better. We beat them for the majority of both those years. And when it came down to crunch time, we choked and they didn't. Then that's just the reality. That's the reality of it. So they're not this unbeatable team that we can't go because essentially we did it twice. We just didn't finish it off.
Okay. And that comes back to my point of, are we starting slower to then not run out of steam in parts of the season? But just coming back to a couple of things, obviously, Will, you said Haaland scores hat tricks. I just want to preface this with the fact that the last 2 times he played against Arsenal, he got a grand total of 0.00 XG. And I know that we all love XG in the pod. We've not mentioned it this season yet. So
you got shoulder checked as well, which is nice. So there's that.
So I'm not
beat Saliba.
I just want to say, I'm not saying that the teams at Man City have had to play are absolutely useless. They're they're guff, which is kind of useless, but, on their day. But what I would say is the next 3 Premier League games for Man City will make things a lot clearer on how they are and how we are as well. Man City have to play Brentford, and then they have to play against Arsenal, and then they have to play an away game against Newcastle at 12:30 on a Saturday. And those are 3, 2.5 tough games.
Discount Brentford. I'm sorry, it's fine.
But let's not forget. Wales makes a very good point. If we did our part the last 2 seasons, we would be Arteta would be a 2-time Premier League winning manager. But we haven't, and I think this season could potentially, because it hurts so much because we've all built this season up so much that this is it. We're going to win the league. We're entitled to win the league this year, and it's going to happen, and that's why we're upset. But if we beat Tottenham and Man City and we end up on 13 points out of 15 after 5 games, no one will give
I'm still worried. I'm still worried because of the last 2 years. I'm still worried because we've proven we can do it in this part of the season. We've proven we can do it all the way up until a month left, and then it all comes crashing down. So it'll be
still wary of Man City, but it will make the defeat or the draw, I should say, on the weekend feel a lot less, lot less worse.
We will go through the season. We will draw games. We will lose games, and we will win games. it's just always at the time it feels bad. I'm not going to relitigate last year. I'm not going to get drawn into that. We'll be here for another 2 hours.
Yeah, you will win, you will lose, you win, draw. But there's ones that you're supposed to, and there's ones that you're not. And there's, like you're saying, there's expected and there's supposed to, and it's like, for instance, if City would have lost that game to Ipswich, it would have been a travesty. They were not supposed to lose that game.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But that's a huge deal versus losing Liverpool, losing us.
Yeah.
Ones which are coin flips, more acceptable. So there's games you're supposed to win. We were supposed to win this game. So
and we would have done
massage it however you want, but we were supposed to win this game, so it's 2 points dropped.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is 2 points dropped. But there we go.
Not 2 points dropped, yes, but not because of the way we played, because we would have won that game 5-1 or 3-1 or whatever.
That doesn't matter. But I get what you're saying. If that doesn't matter, it's 2 points dropped.
In the grand scheme of things, it's 2 points dropped. However, when you look at last season when we dropped points against Fulham, that was our fault. We didn't play well. We didn't play well against teams like West Ham.
I can accept that more.
So anyway, let's move on. There's more fun things to talk about. Just want to end this part one with one thing though. You guys both just said that we will win games, draw games, and lose games. So I cannot wait to have you on the podcast when you predict us losing a game, because you said we're going to lose games. So I cannot wait for you guys to predict.
I think we'll lose to City. There you go, away. Yeah, we're not beat City. Away. Okay. I think we'll lose that game.
Okay.
There you go. My predictions in early. And to be honest, it's not not a huge stretch of the imagination that we lose away to City. Obviously, I don't want that to happen, but I can envision it. Who knows what happens on the international break? Hopefully, I don't wish ill on people, but certain people I wish more ill than others. And it would be very nice if Haaland fell over whilst tramping through the fjords of Norway whilst he's on international duty and got lost for a few weeks. But there we go.
Just a very quick story. So Chris, when I was talking to him in the airport, one of his friends used to drive the coach for Man City, and he said to him, why don't you just trip Haaland down the stairs? He's not an Arsenal fan, his friend either. He's like, just trip him down the stairs when he's coming off the coach. But I seen a picture of Haaland on social media. He's getting a private jet to Norway with his little match ball and things. So fucking ugly long hair. He's just so annoying, isn't he? Even the Man City players hate him, because on the ball, one of them wrote "fuck off," and the other one wrote "I hate writing on your match balls." So the City player, I hope he leaves after this year. He's due to go to Real Madrid or something anyway. And speaking of transfers, we're moving to part 2 of the pod, where we just quickly discuss the final transfer deadline day. Obviously, Tabs, we had a kind of chat to see what would happen. There was talk of Kingsley Coman. There was talk of just Raheem Sterling. There was all this talk, exactly as Wales says. So just going to ask you guys very quickly, just want a number. Wale, what would you rate the summer transfer window out of 10?
Oh, this is a little tough. I got to be realistic here. 5.
Okay, Tabs?
Now, the transfer window, I know you said
Tabs.
No. Because transfer windows ins and outs. So we did really well on the outs.
Tabs? I'm going to interrupt you. Just ask one.
7.
Okay.
Because we did really well on the outs, and the ins were all about raising the floor and getting trusted players.
I need to find another host on this podcast that just listens to me when I say one word. Thank you, Wale, for agreeing to stick to that.
You're not trying to make excuses for everything. It's easy just to say one word. You can't have a one-word excuses here. So he has to.
No, but okay. If you think of the transfer window as a whole, it's both in and out. Don't you think we did really well on the outs?
Because that's not going to help us fucking win this year. So I don't.
Well, it is.
No,
because it is. Because if we don't get rid of Nketiah, we don't get rid of ESR, we don't get rid of Nelson.
What happens then?
Well, we don't get Sterling, we don't get Marino.
Who says that? Who says that? I'm going there and spend. So don't tell me it's impossible, because I'm watching a team.
No, I'm not saying it's impossible.
Do whatever they want.
We were very much 1 in, 1 out this transfer window, and those I strongly.
We weren't 1 in, 1 out though. Literally, we weren't.
We were, because
we had
Sterling
go out, and then
Sterling wouldn't have come in if we didn't get rid of Nelson and Nketiah, and Merino wasn't coming in if we didn't get ESR. We would not do these. We would definitely 1 in, 1 out. If you see the timing of stuff, I can't. Okay, you imagine a scenario where we get Sterling and Merino and keep those other 3 players.
Yeah, I wouldn't care. What would the scenario be?
Well, financial issue.
Tell me what the scenario would be. We'd have them. We'd have extra players.
But you couldn't afford them all the time. You wouldn't be able to players.
What? Of course we can. They don't
right,
want.
okay. I'm not in the accounts, but I'm very certain. You're right. I everything we say on this pod, we're saying based on how we feel about a situation. So fine, if that's that. Yeah, you know.
I need to learn how to mute your guys' microphones when I ask for one word, one number. I'm with Wales on this. I don't think it was a 5. I think our transfer window was a 7 overall. But I'm with Wales, who says we can't keep Emile Smith-Rowe and Eddie Nketiah and Aaron Ramsdale and stuff, because look at Chelsea, they have 45 players in their book.
We're not Chelsea, we're not bankrolled by that, and also that how many millions of pounds is that on wages? We just know, you just know full well we would not be keeping those players. Full well.
But we're not 1 in, 1 out because of finances, because Arsenal are one of the most lucrative clubs, or one of the richest clubs in the world. You know, we have money behind us. We're not 1 in, 1 out because of that. We're 1 in, 1 out because Arteta wants a squad of, you know, players that will regularly play. He doesn't want any fringe players that won't be.
Sorry, did you say French?
Fringe.
Oh, okay. He doesn't want any French players. Oh, right. Okay. He's being xenophobic now, is he? Okay.
He's got a very good fucking French player that plays at the back. And he's also got a very good French player that joined from Chelsea, Raheem Sterling. So might as well play for France if he doesn't get a game for England. I think that was a good kind of transfer deadline signing. However, look, let's not beat around the bush. Raheem Sterling was not on Arsenal's list at the start of the transfer window. Edu even came out and said that. But it's a good deal. You know, we're only paying around 100. I think you wrote 100k a week, but I've seen 150. But Chelsea are still paying more.
We're loaded. We're loaded, so it doesn't matter how much you're paying.
I didn't even want to say anything. I don't care about how much the other team's paying. I could give a fuck. We've upgraded the position with Reece Nelson. All this, oh yeah, a bunch of clowns. They're paying 2/3 of the wages. Who fucking cares? I'm not the PSR accountant. I want good players on my team, and I want to see us do well. I don't care who's paying Sterling's wages. If we were paying all of it, it still wouldn't matter to me. I'd be like, well, at least it's an upgrade. I'd still be disappointed with the window.
Yeah. No, that's right. We wouldn't have got him if we had to pay his full 320 wages. We were not paying that. And I just find it funny.
Will, what player would you have wanted Arsenal to sign in the window for our transfer the transfer window to be like a 7 or an 8?
I mean, it's similar to the fact where I'm saying, like, I'm not the accountant. I'm not on the scout team, but there's the worst people out there available. And the worst part about it is they're going to spin this. When I say they, management and what have you, they're going to spin it that, oh, well, our top target wasn't available, so we didn't want to waste the money. No. I hear these people talk about Isak, for instance. You're saying he's not available? I don't know that. Did somebody call up Newcastle and say 120 million? Did anybody test their resolve? Did we really sort of push the issue with this? If they feel he's the right player, the Gorkarich to Georgievich, whatever his name is, like, did we press that issue if we feel he's the one? Because they have to have a board. There'll be a big board and there'll be players on there. Now, technically, the way transfers go, none of the players are ever truly available because they're all under contract. So you are going to have to be sort of testing it. Yes, some might have put in a transfer request and teams might be a bit more sort of amenable to letting that happen. But if you see somebody you want, you call up the other people's front office and you look to do something. As far as I'm concerned, Arsenal didn't do that at all. As far as what our strategy this window was to essentially look to try to balance our books and get rid of people. And the most frustrating part about it is, like, the window only stays open for so long. This was the transfer window where you fucking throw everything at it and you spend a whole bunch of big money one more time to get yourself over the line. Not do what they've just done and have what I call essentially a subpar window, not bring any what I will call major difference maker. And I'm worried about this year. We'll be lucky to have a year like we had last year, in my opinion. And I'll say that right now. We'll be lucky to have a year like last year. That's coming in second with no silverware. Wouldn't surprise me if we drop down to third or fourth with no silverware, because we just haven't made any gains. And it doesn't matter to me that you've saved this summer to do it next summer. I'm tired of next summer. I want now. And I don't think it's unreasonable to say now, after this whole process. Like, it's been, what, 5 years?
Well, we don't know the implications of PSR. That's the thing that we don't know. So that we may be financed.
That's how they get away with a lot of fans not giving them a hard time, because you go, oh, well, we don't know. Listen, I'm watching a club do whatever the fuck they want, like a fantasy football team. So don't tell me, like, and until I see something happen with Chelsea as far as any sort of punishment, until I see City get any sort of punishment, let me break it to you guys, it's not going to happen. City will get a slap on the wrist and nothing's going to happen to Chelsea. So we can do these things. Our owners choose not to because they don't want to spend the money, because there's no reason, because there's only like a 5 million quid difference in prize money from first place to second place. So as businessmen, they're like, why did I spend an extra 100 million to win an extra 5 million? And that's how they look at it.
Did Edu, I don't know why I said it so posh there. Did Edu really start up the barbecue in Newcastle and phone them for Isak? I don't know. I think we would have found out if he did. But Will, you make a very good point. Why don't we test the resolve of someone like Newcastle, who potentially need to sell and, you know, get rid of some players for PSR? But having said that, I think Arsenal are maybe biding their time for another season, which might be too late, but they're biding their time, because if Newcastle don't make Champions League again, you know, Isak's not going to stay there forever. He is going to go somewhere, and it'd be really good to see him at the Emirates. I think he fits the bill for what we're looking for. But I can't think that we would spend over 100 million on another player again this summer. I just don't think that's the Arsenal way of doing things. And I think that the club want to temper expectations for fans, because if we do that every year, then we'll expect it all the time. And I don't think we're that type of club. I really don't. City never done it this year, did they? Really? They signed Savio and they re-signed.
They
don't have to. They're coming out for like 4 or 5 fucking consecutive championships, man. Like, they built up so much credit with their fan base, and they have a core.
What fan base?
Them young, but their core is good for another year. You got Haaland, you got De Bruyne, you've got the youngsters in. I mean, when Foden gets back, they're fine. And this is the thing. Once you get an actual core and a squad together, you don't start bringing in 5, 6, 7 people. That's ridiculous. You just maybe add one here, add one there. When you get to that point, we're not at that point. And I don't need Arsenal to temper my expectations, because my expectations have been tempered for a very long time. This was the year to push for it. And the fact that we haven't is frustrating, because like next year isn't promised to anybody. Like, anything can happen. Injuries, players fall off. Like, there is going to come a time, and I know it sounds all crazy, but where some of these good players that we have are going to say, I don't want to be here anymore. There's going to be another club that, number one, is going to pay them more money and an opportunity to win stuff. And who's not taking that?
Yeah, I said that last season on the pod. I said at the end of the season that players that we love will end up leaving in the next 2 or 3 years, maybe if not sooner, if we don't start winning stuff. And if the club don't show ambition, Saliba might get, signed by Real Madrid, and Gabriel could end up going to somewhere like PSG, or, I don't see players like Saka or Rice leaving, but I can see some of our favourites certainly being tempted by other clubs. So you're spot on with that, Will. Interesting little discussion. Let's just quickly round off the pod by talking about something a little bit more palatable, something that hopefully you guys won't find anything to disagree on. It's the Champions League fixtures. Yes, they all kick off at 8 o'clock, guys. When it says 9 p.m, that is the Eastern. No, not Eastern. It's the
European time, the Central European time, or whatever.
Yeah, Central European time zone. So I think the only saving grace for the Champions League fixtures now they've been announced is we don't have any 5:45 kickoffs. So it means that the atmosphere at the Emirates will be really nice. 8 o'clock kickoffs in the group stages. The only bugbear is the first bloody game against Atalanta away is on a Thursday, and that's such a Europa League tie as well. Atalanta versus Arsenal. So it's on a Thursday. It's the only Thursday game that we have. The rest, and I guess the annoying thing is we go Tottenham away on the Sunday, Atalanta away on the Thursday, and then Man City away on the Sunday again. So that'll be quite tough. 3 away games on the bounce and 3 challenging away games. You want to start off your Champions League campaign with a win. The second one we play against Shakhtar at home, and that's sandwiched with Bournemouth away and then Liverpool at home. So again, okay. The third one is we have Nottingham Forest at home, then we have Sporting away, and then West Ham away. So again, I think there's a theme where we have a home game, a Champions League tie, then an away game, pretty much. I don't know if you
forget
guys.
about PSG though.
No, yeah, you've missed Newcastle away, Internazionale away, Chelsea away.
My apologies. I didn't see that.
In the first week of November.
Yeah, my apologies, guys.
Wow.
Listeners, sorry.
I've only just noticed that. That is.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
We have so Tottenham,
No.
Man City.
Yeah. We don't even have that. We have Shakhtar at home, then Liverpool at home, then Newcastle away, then Inter Milan or Internazionale, as Micah Richards calls them.
That's their name.
Yeah, I know, but it's just in the accent. It's just funny the way Micah Richards says it. We have them away, and then we have Chelsea away, then we have Forest at home, then Sporting away. That is a tough month. Kind of third week of October to the third week of November.
And then West Ham away. And after Sporting, West Ham. Jesus.
And then Man U at home. It's just they come thick and fast. So yeah, and that's a very tough run of fixtures. November.
And guess who plays at home the week before they play us? Well, Man City basically. They play at home on Wednesday before the before our game.
Yeah. But I mean, so obviously Inter, and then we have Sporting, and then we play against Fulham away. Then we have Monaco at home, and then Everton at home. So not the worst kind of run. And then finally, I feel like I'm missing. Oh no, I'm not. Then we have Tottenham at home, Villa at home, Dinamo Zagreb at home in January. That's a kind of tough little run there as well, mixed with Brighton away before that kind of run starts. And then finally, we end our Champions League campaign. Well, we end our Champions League group stage campaign against Girona away on the 29th of January. So, look, we discussed the draw tabs. It's favourable to us. The Inter Milan game might be the one that we potentially, I can see us maybe slipping up in that month of November. But we also have to play against PSG. I don't think I mentioned PSG. PSG sandwiched between Leicester at home and Southampton at home. So
a nice home game though, man. A nice, fancy, traditional Champions League. A bit of glamour, glitz.
Yeah. Just hope Saliba has a horror game against them and we still win. So then they're not tempted to sign him in the summer. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with the way the fixtures have landed. Not very happy about the Thursday night game, but hey ho. And also very happy that there's no 5:45s, because 5:45 kickoffs should not be a thing in European football.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
No, people will not be able to make a 5:45 because of work commitments and whatnot. And the atmosphere is always generally quite poor, just like 12:30 kickoffs are as well. So yeah, looking forward to it. I just want to ask you guys a bit of a fun question. Tabs, don't pad this out with your don't give me a reason, but how many points do you think we will end up on from the group games in the Champions League from the eight games we're playing?
1.
Tabs, I've managed to wind him up, and he's saying 1. Hopefully that's just from the PSG game, right?
You didn't want me to explain, so that's fine. No, I don't know. What is it? How many games is it? You get 8, 3, 24. You got win 18.
Okay, Will.
You want 24, don't you? 20.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to say as well. I was going to say 20. 6 wins, 2 draws. So, yeah. What did you say, Tab? Sorry.
About 18. That'll be touch and go whether that qualifies you. I think someone's saying. I think you were saying 6 wins and a draw will guarantee.
Yeah, but what's interesting is 3 wins will be enough in the group stage to get into the middle 16 at the very least.
No, we should be there. It's just that you don't want that extra 2-header in the playoffs. Looking at this fixture, it's just like wow. November is nuts. And but then we have a really nice December. We should have a fun Christmas, but it might all be over by then. You know? So let's just see. So yeah, my positivity resolve is being tested to the nth degree. You just
Yeah.
look. I just see trouble everywhere at the moment. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
but
hard.
look, yeah. But to be the best, you've got to beat the best.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's what they say, right? So,
I agree.
thank you guys so much for joining me on tonight's episode and for being my therapist. And always lovely to have you on, Whale and Tabs. Thank you again. Over
No
the
worries.
international, so it's weird that international breaks come round again so quickly. I just honestly hope that Lee Cardsley, your New England manager, gives rest to Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka. And is it Nation League games or is it friendlies?
I think Nation League, isn't it? I don't
Okay,
know.
so
I don't care.
so I'm just hoping for some rest for the likes of Rice and Saka and whatnot. I think England play against Ireland away, and so that's the Declan Rice derby, really. They play Ireland in a week's time. Well, it'll be less than a week. Scotland play Portugal, by the way, which will always be fun. And then England play against Finland. So hopefully Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka get some much needed rest.
Games are such a waste.
Yeah.
It's such
So
a
stupid.
waste.
It's Nations League. It means nothing. It's so stupid. So, but the good news is over the international break, we will be hearing from Danny from a Birdcamp Wonderland, who will be on the podcast, so probably out next week. And we will be back to discuss and dissect the preview for Tottenham away, which is coming up very soon. So look out for that. In the meantime, if you please go on to Threads, X, Instagram, follow us at thegroveafc, and on Spotify, there's like a comments box. Put in some comments, what you want to listen to, if you have any speakers that you want to hear from. And from me, thank you so much. Whale, Tabs, again, thank you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it, fellas. Always a pleasure, never a chore.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.